To another XLM price action update. So in this video, we're just going to talk about the latest movements at the lows for XLM. And basically, I'm just going to share my views continuing on from the last update as it appears to be still in wave E for the end of wave 2 since May 2021. So everything that I've covered so far in terms of analysis, all the different recounts and basically figuring out of the patterns up until now still remains in place. I still believe that we are in the final stages. So we had our A, B, C down to roughly the 10th of May, 11th of May, 12th of May, and then we had this zigzag pattern. So that, to me, I counted as a D because it didn't fit anything else, especially after the move that followed. So after this D wave, to have a 5-wave move in progress the way that it has been, to me, that spells E wave. Okay, because if this wasn't to be an E wave, then it would have been a zigzag already. Now, unless it's still trying to be a zigzag, or for some other reason, that's what it's trying to do. It doesn't fit with the prior movements. So these are the types of things I look for here using Ariaswave, because there's only 5 waves in a correction. Wave A can be the biggest, B smaller, C, depending on symmetry. Here we've got an A and a C that are sort of similar in size, length, but the D and the E are a separate component. They are separate wave components of the correction. So going down to the 15-minute chart, as I continue to bring my view of what's going on with the E wave, this is what I believe is going on. So we had a wave 1, 2, 3, and now we just completed 4 in the last roughly 48 hours. Okay, so I've been biding my time and just waiting for the right time to post a video, just to make sure that we're still on track here. Wave 4 never touched wave 1 and 2 price action there, right? Which is this white line that I'm putting here, right? It never touched it. So the wave 5 count, sorry, the 5-wave move count is still in progress. Wave 4 is definitely taking its time. It's gone sideways for quite a bit. We've got an A, B, C, D, E, according to my latest count. The C wave, yeah, not your typical C wave, but moved up in a way that it's basically corrective, right? Corrective. Whether this is a D wave or not, it looks like a D wave because it's a 3-wave move. And so there's 2 5-wave moves either side of that. So to me, this is the CDE pattern. Of course, it looks unusual, which is why I had a feeling that it could happen and it might happen because I've seen it happen like this before. But initially, I thought, okay, wave C will be small CDE, but no, it proved that it was ongoing for a bit longer. I didn't worry when this sharp move started to happen. I didn't want to post an update because I had a feeling it would be wave E price action. Okay, so for me, this CDE pattern is a typical corrective formation of those last 3 waves in a correction. So for me, I just have to, be careful with how I post, because in the past there's been mistakes made, and if you don't learn from your mistakes, then obviously you're just you might not be using Ariaswave, you might be using Elliott wave, you might be using price action and trend line breaks to make your decisions, that sort of thing. But for me, I firmly believe in the waves. So if we are looking for a final low to happen, then it needs to happen first before we can expect any higher prices. And I've been saying this to my members in the secret Facebook group, and basically just maintaining that I will produce an update, but you need to understand that I'm not just going to produce an update just because a little bit of time has passed and there's a little bit of move going on. Okay, now although this correction is definitely a bit wacky compared to most 5 wave moves, to me that's typical wave E price action. It gets, choppy. It starts to take longer than usual, and it starts to feel like what's going on. This is taking far longer than it should, and that's the beauty of wave E, right? Because wave E is the final move in a correction. So of course you want it to be over quickly, right? In fact, you might even get impatient if you don't know that it's a wave E. Okay, this is why learning Ariaswave can potentially help you understand what the deal is at any given time in the markets, because you're just waiting for certain things to happen. In this case, we're waiting for that low to break down below 0.09 here and just make that final low, if that's what it's going to do. Given that this is a sideways wave 4, to me that's probably the most likely scenario. If anything changes, obviously I will update on that potentiality. But at the end of the day, we need to see a break above the 15 cent area to confirm the end of this correction. Okay, so uh, like I said, waves can be choppy, and we've seen waves 1 and 2 and 3. We've seen 4, that's for sure. So will 5 be as sharp as previous moves down? I think it'll actually be even more, um, on an angle, right? It'll be more angled, like something like so, right, to show that it's a wave 5. If for some reason it starts to get really sharp down, it could be a wave 3, but I don't think that's the case. And there's no reason to believe that that's going to happen. Okay, so just paying attention to a lot of different people's analysis out there on Bitcoin and the likes. I can see that people have many different opinions on what Bitcoin will do. Some people think it'll bounce and come lower. Some people think it'll go lower from here. But at the moment, the sentiment is still pretty bearish in general. So, you know, fair enough. There's a lot of mainstream media posts still going on about how we're still, the economy is in trouble, the economy is going down, and all sorts of stuff, right? So, using the, you know, sentiment as a guide, usually when people are expecting a recession, there will be no recession, basically. It's usually when people aren't expecting a recession, that's when a recession happens. So once again, I'm a contrarian. I'm using this contrary indication of bearishness to suggest, along in line with my waves, that you know what, this thing's getting weaker to the downside, and it's only a matter of time before it starts to reverse back to the upside. So that's my view there. I know that I said this CDE pattern could have probably potentially been shorter, ending around this area, but it turns out that the C wave was a little bit more drawn out, D wave, and then the E wave was a bit sharper there. I've seen very similar E wave happen before, where the first wave 1 and 2 is long, and then you have a 3, 4, 5. Sorry, a 3, 4, and a 5 there. I literally could see this happening as I looked at the charts every now and then over the weekend, and I thought, yeah, this is fine. This hasn't gone into the 1, 2 price action area. This is just a funky looking wave E. So in a nutshell, that's my view. I'm still waiting on prices to drop below these two key levels here. One's at 0.10, one's at 0.09. Once we get that, let's reevaluate the situation, have a look at the slope of the move down, and then also see what kind of bounce we get. that'll give us a big indication on what to expect. So hopefully you found this video interesting and informative.